folks, check it out. Today we are talking about the YOLO No Fire. This was a fidget that when I saw it, I was instantly excited by the idea of it because, I mean, what do we all want? I mean, we all want that kind of the same repeated kind of feel of a Zippo lighter. A lot of people's fidget habits started with Zippo lighters. Now, that is your Zippo lighter sound. This one was advertised with a little extra ping, so you can hear that, right? And then you can even hear ping on this piece. Now, unfortunately, this is nowhere near as repeatable in fidgetability as a regular Zippo lighter. There's a couple little things, little tweaks to the design to this that I think could make a V2 of this really successful. So that makes the Zippo successful. But this is the YOLO No Fire. We're trying to do this without fire. And I think, so you can take a look here, what that looks like. This is silly. This kind of shit drives me nuts sometimes when they put this on here. I don't even know, is this 119 or 611? Is that like their emergency number? It certainly isn't 911. When they do this kind of cartoony stuff, kind of drives me crazy. It just looks hokey. This side is good, but let's talk about what works for this piece. I think the sound overall of this has a very interesting kind of mechanical sound to it. Now, when I got it, it was definitely a little softer, and I had to change out the ball and spring. And then there's that, but this feels kind of like rusty almost. I can't tell if it is or if that's just wearing in there. Either way, there's a little bit of resistance right there in this turn that it really almost feels like it could use a shot of WD-40 right there in that corner. And part of that like kind of interesting croaking almost noise, I think, is being caused by this open space here. So that vibration is kind of happening inside that little pocket. Man, I got a tickle in my throat. So here's the other thing. This slider came with this piece here. Now, it's kind of an awkward piece. You'd think if it were like a Zippo, you'd be able to do that, right? But not so much with this, because of course it's going to work the one time I'm trying to prove a point. Fine, you could do it, but here's the tip that I would have for this. This needs to have a locking in mechanism, right? So that if I want, without this sliding around on me, I can just freely do that. But it'll either slide down, you'll lose your grip, or it'll come up too far, and if it's up too far, this thing won't come back down. So it's got to be at just the right height to push it back down. So I think there's an opportunity here for this to be a really great piece. Now it almost seems like they developed this, got it into some people's hands, and they went, I can't hold on to this. And so to just keep things moving and release it, they just tossed in this little acrylic handle that makes it just long enough to use it comfortably. I know I sound like I'm on some big kick about ergonomics or something like that, because I just did another video about a piece that I felt like, it was the YOLO. That's interesting. This is the YOLO Studio No Fire, and that was the YOLO slider mechanical. Drop that screw right down into that hole. It's got this little notch here. You will place that right in there. Oh, I gotta make sure I have the right tooltip here. Came with 2 different size bits. So now it's the right size to hold it down here with your finger and be able to do this back and forth while also giving it that option, so that you can push up comfortably right on the bottom corner and cause that to pop and get that sound effect. Now, this doesn't make it any less awkward, and I was really hoping that you could use it without this pretty comfortably. But walked outside, and first thing I did was drop this in the grass. And it snapped right along there. See, my wife did a great job super gluing that back together, and it does work again just fine now, but bit of a bummer. Okay. So anyway, yeah, I think there's definitely room for improvement if this could be locked in somehow so that you could use this like a lighter and get that ping. That would still be fun. And this Zippo didn't even have the ping. I know some of them can. This thing hasn't worked in years. Okay. Rambling a little bit. So here's what it came with. You've got some extra springs, black silicone nitrate balls, and some kind of weak springs for the size of the space here. I'm going to show you when you take this off. The internals here almost go too deep to create the pressure. So I did find a spring that comes up about 1 centimeter past, which helped. But there you can see that you've got the little detent track set in there. This piece moves back and forth right along here. Like I said, you've got these 2 kind of openings that help create that kind of deep croaking sound. And this mechanism is not something I'm familiar with, so I'm not going to take it all the way apart. But you can see in there that it's just like a clasp between these two pieces here, which are the tuning fork portion, and it's bringing that down. And I could take it off by unscrewing that, which I would probably do, you know, to remove this and put that WD-40 in there maybe. But the main portion that you're kind of modifying is this one here. And so these two spots nest right into there. Can't hear that noise. It's pretty decent. Somebody just messaged me today and said, you don't like the YOLO, or is it because the tuning fork feature is fake? And I can safely say that's not the case. I don't think it was faked for the video. I think a lot of times when they film videos, the makers film videos to promote these, they probably film them in a giant empty warehouse or something to really maximize that sound, or really turn up their microphone volume. I don't know. You guys know me, I don't know how microphones work. So it is a bit of a bummer. I can, you know, safely say that if you want to use this thing as advertised, you definitely need the acrylic piece on there. But is it the worst thing I've ever had? No. Not by a long shot. And it's obviously just kind of like crazy enough that I could mess with it for a while. Still be doing this for a long time. Still be just sliding this up and down. You know, there are, you know, mechanicals that all they do is up and down, and they're pretty simple. I wouldn't say that this is the best up and down mechanical, but it's certainly not the worst. And that ping is still fun. So, folks, there you go. That is the YOLO tuning fork. I'd say stick with the Zippo for now. Wait for the V2. Bye.